Similar to yesterday's about exercise and taking care of our physical body, today is pretty straightforward. If you're not well rested, if you're not sleeping well or getting enough sleep, you're going to have more trouble making very conscientious, critical decisions about recovery, about your life, about goals, about short term gains and long term pleasures, all the different things. And part of this too is we live in a very fast paced world with lots of distractions, lots of stimulation, and constantly something that we can be consuming that can activate our brains in a way where we don't sleep well. I remember talking with a nurse practitioner in North Carolina, and she would talk about how the recommendation she would give for kids, well, first of all, she would say kids should not have any screens at all because the light activates parts of their brain, gets them thinking, leads to yada yada yada, ADHD, attention problems, restlessness, all this stuff. But what she would tell people is, based on her research of the science, is 2 hours before bedtime, kids should not be looking at any screen. That was for kids. Man, kids, they're different than us adults, right? And I would challenge no. I think the sooner we can turn off as many lights or specifically screen time at night before we go to sleep, the better we're going to sleep. And this is backed by some research. The opposite is also true in the morning, that when we first get up, we should get some light into our eyes. Maybe not screen specifically, like sunlight would be ideal, or just whatever, just getting light into our eyes to start that time clock in our head saying, hey, in 16 hours, I'm going to need to get more sleep. And so then that clock starts clicking, ticking until we get there at night. And then the body starts going into its cycle of rest and relaxation, generally speaking. If you are having trouble sleeping, or if you are seeing that there's this pattern that you are getting up in the middle of the night, what time, that three o'clock witching hour, where people wake up a lot and start to feel that they're aroused, and they feel kind of half groggy when they start to act out, and then they just kind of go all in, or they've been dreaming and imagining those kind of things that then get them aroused and trigger them into some state, and then they wake up and they feel like they're going. And so if that's something that's happening, this is a perfect opportunity now, today, to make some plans of how can you build around that. How can you build some boundaries on yourself and technology so that you can get better sleep. Now, if technology is what it is that's keeping you up, we'll manage it. If it's other noises or distractions, making sure your bed is comfortable, making sure that you are comfortable, the temperature is okay, finding ways to kind of relax your system down, kind of put all the worries and stressors away, if that's through journaling, if that's through meditation exercises, yoga, stretching, maybe not so much heavy physical activity, taking a hot bath, hot shower. Experiment with this. I'm going to add a podcast episode that talks through many different behavioral actions we can take to improve our sleep and the impact that sleep can have on our brains. That where we actually learn and implement or integrate some new information can be while we're sleeping. And if we're not getting good rest, if we're not getting good sleep, the impacts of that. People can actually die if they don't sleep for 3 or 4 days. They can just, their body just shuts down and they die. So for you to get good sleep will help build the resilience in your head to make better decisions based on long-term goals, long-term desires, and less on immediate gratification. Right through some of the things, some of the steps, some basic changes you can make in your home and in your routine so that you can get better sleep and find your way to those sweet dreams.